But let me tell you, the electrical problems I have had with this car have made me, I'm literally selling it because of it. I like it. Welcome back to another episode of Car Time. We are in my 2002 C5 Corvette, and today we are going to talk about common problems with these cars. Maybe you're in the market for a C5, maybe you have a C5 now and are having some issues. I don't know. Anyways, let's get a cold start and get after it. We are currently en route to a parking lot because if I stand in my driveway and stare at my GoPro, my neighbors are going to think I'm crazy. So we'll be there in about 2 seconds. I currently have no insurance or registration on this car, so I should probably not be as loud as I'm being. But we're going to park right here. So if you've never seen any of my videos before, you know, I've just posted random videos about my car so far pretty much, but I want to get into it more and try and do a video at least every week. And one thing I really want to do to bring value to my channel is I want to do a giveaway for every single video that I do. So in this video, for instance, we're going to be talking about my 2002 C5 Corvette. So I'm going to give away this sweet Corvette shirt. How you enter these giveaways, you're going to send me a direct message to my Instagram. It's Car Time on Instagram. In the direct message, you have to put Corvette shirt and tell me what your favorite car is. At the end of the month, I'll hit you up on Instagram and we'll sort out the details as far as where we're going to ship it and what size shirt you want. All you have to do is do that and then hit the subscribe button down below. I'm trying to grow this channel fast so we can continue to do more great things. But without further ado, let's go over all the problems you'll probably run into if you have a C5 Corvette or if you're looking at buying a C5 Corvette. Alright, so we are going to start in the engine bay. Please excuse these flames. I did not put these on there. The previous owner did, and I highly disapprove of them. But if you buy a C5 Corvette, chances are the batteries by now have all been replaced from factory, but I have read that you know, batteries are known to crack and leak battery acid down below the battery tray. The reason that's a problem on these cars is your PCM actually sits below your battery, so any leaking battery acid can make its way down there and can corrode those connections, which is not good. The next common problem you might run into, and this is probably common with all LS engines, underneath your valve covers are obviously your valves and your valve springs, but on the other side of your valve spring is a rocker arm, and those rocker arms move up and down and control the opening and closing of your valves, but those ride on this captured bearing. Well, if you don't run the correct type of oil or you rev your car too high, there's a chance you can destroy those needle bearings that control the opening and closing of the valve, which is bad because they'll go all throughout your engine. The good news is the oil pickup tube is, the screen on there is small enough that it won't let those needle bearings pick up and completely trash your engine, but then again, it is still a problem. They sell a trunnion upgrade kit. I'll put a picture here so you know what it looks like, but that is definitely a common problem that you can run into with these cars. One thing I've encountered too and seen a lot on the forums is if you have aftermarket headers like I do, the battery connection to the alternator actually runs through the starter. So you'll see that if you follow these wires down to the starter, your positive terminal on the battery goes down to the starter, and then it goes back around the engine and over to the alternator. Well, the problem is the connections down at the starter are really close to these open headers, so they get really, really hot and they start to corrode, and I actually had my starter basically melt and fall apart, and I lost my entire dash. My car was still running, I was still driving, but I lost my entire dash. I couldn't use turn signals, my lights went out, caused a bunch of crazy electrical problems, so definitely look out for that. Let's see, you'll notice I have my headlight cover off. I'm working on my headlights. So one common problem with these headlights, it's the last generation Corvette to get pop-up headlights. Well, there's two on each side. There's a motor on each side, right? So that controls the light going up and down. Well, inside that motor are plastic gears, and over time they can strip out and cause this really nasty grinding noise. Let me turn on my car because my car's, believe it or not, actually doing it right now. So you can kind of see what this noise looks like. Ugh. So we're gonna put the lights up, and now check it out on the way down. It's gonna make this nasty grinding noise. And this is actually the plastic gears have stripped out on this driver's side headlight. Not good. Good news is you can buy a replacement plastic gears and swap them out. There's plenty of tutorials on how to do it. Or you can buy an upgraded brass gear to prevent it from stripping out in the future. One common issue too that you'll find with the Corvettes, we'll get on the interior here, is the I'm sure you hear everybody talk about how junky and cheap the C5 interior is, which it is. It's not the greatest, but you know, it's a sports car. The leather on the seats is especially bad. If you're getting in and out of the car constantly and keep brushing up against the side bolster, it'll tear, it'll start cracking. I have some, you know, cracking in my seats here up along the seams. So just be careful when you're getting in and out of these cars. The leather is really cheap. These seats, over time, especially if you have more than like stock power in the car. Let me shut this off. The seats will actually, you'll feel it when you accelerate and brake. They'll actually slide back and forth. You can see it's kind of loose there. They'll slide back and forth about a 1/4 inch. And I haven't done a ton of research on it, but it can be repaired. I think there's like these plastic bushings in the frame rail that over time, from braking and accelerating, they'll just start to wear out and you'll get this nasty movement in the seat. I know the rear ends on these cars are prone to leaking. The rear differential, I mean. They call it leaky butt, apparently. I haven't had an issue with that so far. But, let's see here. Definitely the one big thing, if you do any research on common problems with these cars, you're gonna read something about the electrical problems. And let me tell you, and yes, I am wearing a button-up flamingo shirt. I decided to look nice for this video. But let me tell you, the electrical problems I have had with this car have made me, I'm literally selling it because of it. They have driven me nuts so much, and I'm too cheap to take my car to a dealer to figure it out, especially troubleshooting electrical problems, because it's going to get expensive. I figured out most of them by myself, but it's definitely a problem you're going to run into if you have one of these cars. And the reason for that is there's all these different electrical components to the car, whether it be your headlights or your climate control or your traction control systems, and they all have different grounding points around the entire car. I don't know how many there are. There's at least 10 to 15 grounding points around this car, and those connections will get corroded. So for example, this grounding point right here, I know is for my traction control system. You know, there's a grounding point here, there's a grounding point down on the engine frame there, there's a grounding point under the in the footwell here, there's a grounding point right behind the rear seat, there's a grounding point on the left hand rear frame rail, there's a grounding point on the right hand rear frame rail behind the passenger seat, in front of the passenger seat in the footwell. There is another grounding point right here down by the battery. So a ton of grounding points that ground all the systems of the car, and if they get corroded or the wires get loose or you get water intrusion, you're gonna have a problem with certain systems around the car. So just can be an easy fix, but it can be incredibly annoying, especially if you clean the grounds and it doesn't fix your problem, because then you're in for more headache. The active handling and traction control systems on these cars are known to have problems. So you'll see right here in front of the alternator, there's this, it's hard to see with the coolant hose in the way, but there's a, they call it the electronic brake control module and the brake pressure modulator valve. It's basically like a computer system that controls the pump, and the pump shoots brake fluid to, you know, whatever side of the car it needs to correct traction loss or stability. Well, this system has a lot of problems. There's a lot of different codes the car will throw, and a lot of them completely disable the traction control system. So you'll see on your dash, service traction control, service active handling, service ABS, and it'll disable the system. There is a company called ABS Fixer that will fix your EBCM. I think it's like 250 bucks. They'll fix it for you. But in my case, as the car sits right now, I've diagnosed this pump to be bad, the brake pressure modulator valve. is bad. It's not working. I've put power directly to it. It's not spinning the motor. This part is about $1,200. If your EBCM
Today, Junior?
EBCM goes bad, it's about another $500. To replace this whole unit at the dealer, you're talking over $2,000 with labor. So definitely something to look out for. Those are some of the common problems you might find with these cars. Please hit the subscribe button down below. You just gotta click it. Just click it. We're gonna have a lot more videos coming out soon. And remember, every single video is gonna have a giveaway, so don't forget to enter for the giveaway. We're gonna give away this sweet Corvette shirt at the end of the month. Thanks for watching.
I like it.